Welcome to the new video of NeuroPhilos. Get ready to dive into a gripping tale that will leave you breathless, thinking, and inspired. Whether you're here for the mystery, the drama, or the unexpected twists, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. Let's begin. The childhood you think you've outgrown. Do you really believe you've moved on from childhood? Most people say yes. They point to time. They point to age. They point to the fact that they can study, work, laugh, and function. And still, something inside them reacts like it's back there. A small comment feels like an attack. A raised voice makes the body go cold. A bit of distance from someone you love feels like danger. You tell yourself you're overthinking. You call it weakness. You promise you'll stop reacting like this. But what if the issue isn't your personality? What if it's an old survival program still running in the background? Here's what most people miss. Trauma doesn't always show up as a clear memory. It isn't always a single moment you can replay like a movie. Sometimes the deepest wounds are quiet. They don't scream, they hide. They live inside you as habits, impulses, fears that don't match the situation, and patterns you repeat even when you hate the outcome. You might sabotage something good the moment it starts to feel real. You might push away someone who cares, then wonder why you did it. You might freeze during conflict, or people please even when you're exhausted. That's why so many people suffer without a clean story to explain it. They feel the consequences, but they can't name the cause. Anxiety appears out of nowhere. Anger rises too fast. Shame lands in the chest like a weight. The body tightens for no obvious reason. Then the most painful question arrives. What is wrong with me? Let me say this plainly, like you're sitting right in front of me. This is not drama. This is not you being broken. This can be childhood trauma that was never fully processed. Trauma isn't only about what happened. It's also about what you felt, what you needed, and what you didn't receive. If your home was unpredictable, if love felt conditional, if you had to earn safety by being perfect, quiet, useful, or invisible, your body adapted. That adaptation protected you back then. The problem is that the same adaptation can keep hurting you now. Researchers like Bessel van der Kolk describe trauma as something the body carries, not just the mind. In simple terms, your nervous system can learn danger so deeply that it becomes your default setting. Your brain and body shape themselves around survival. They scan for threat. They brace for rejection. They prepare for the worst. And because the nervous system doesn't track time the way logic does, it can react today as if the past is still happening. You might not even remember a big event, because not all trauma is one big event. Sometimes it's 1,000 small moments: emotional neglect, chronic criticism, being dismissed, having your feelings mocked, living around silent tension, being loved only when you performed. Those experiences teach a child the same lesson again and again. I am not safe. I must stay alert. I must control myself to be accepted. So if you've been stuck in patterns you can't explain, it doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're doomed. It means your system learned something early, and it kept that lesson. The goal here is not to label you. It's to give you language. Because once you can name what's controlling you in silence, you can start changing it. Take a slow breath. Notice what your body does as you hear these words. And keep one truth close. You are not broken, you are adapted. And what was learned for survival can be unlearned for peace. The body that never feels safe. Before we go any further, pause for a moment and check your body, not your thoughts. Your body. Are your shoulders raised without you noticing? Is your jaw tight? Is your stomach clenched like it is bracing for something? Is your breathing stuck high in your chest, short and shallow, even though nothing is happening right now? If yes, that is not random. That can be your nervous system speaking. One of the most painful signs of unresolved childhood trauma is hypervigilance. It is the state of being on guard all the time, scanning for danger, even in places that are objectively safe. The cruel part is that hypervigilance often feels like just who you are. You start to believe you are naturally anxious, naturally tense, naturally restless. You may even build an identity around it. I'm just a worrier. I can't relax. My mind never switches off. But many times this is not personality. It is conditioning. Hypervigilance is often learned in childhood when the environment was unpredictable. Maybe your parents were emotionally unavailable. Maybe their moods changed without warning. Maybe love came with criticism. Maybe silence was used as punishment. Maybe conflict could explode at any moment. When a child grows up in a system like that, the body learns one simple rule. Relaxing is dangerous. Because when you relaxed, something bad happened. You were surprised. You were criticized. You were rejected. You were blamed. You were made to feel small. So the nervous system did what it was designed to do. It adapted to survive. In trauma terms, the brain's alarm system becomes overly sensitive. The part of you that detects threats stays switched on. And here's what makes it feel so hopeless. The nervous system does not care about time the way your rational mind does. It does not say, that was then, this is now. It says, what if it happens again? So even when life is calm, the body stays prepared for impact. That is why safety can feel unfamiliar. You might read people's faces like you are decoding danger. You might analyze tone, pauses, and energy in the room. You might interpret silence as rejection. You might anticipate conflict before it even starts. You might replay conversations in your head to make sure you did not say the wrong thing. You might feel the need to control every detail, not because you enjoy control, but because uncertainty feels like a threat. Hypervigilance also shows up physically. Insomnia is common because the body struggles to shut down. Chronic muscle tension, especially in the neck, shoulders, and back. Headaches, digestive issues, a constant feeling that something is off. You may be sitting still, but inside you are running. Even pleasure can feel uncomfortable because your system is waiting for the other shoe to drop. And there is a trap hidden inside hypervigilance. It creates the illusion of control. The body whispers, if I stay alert, I can prevent pain. So you stay ready, you stay sharp, you stay tense. But over time, that readiness becomes a prison. It drains your energy, reduces your ability to feel joy, and makes rest feel suspicious. You might even feel guilty when things are calm, as if calm is laziness or danger. This is where many people start to hate themselves. They think they are weak for struggling to relax. They think something is wrong with them because they cannot just be normal. But there is nothing wrong with you. What exists is a nervous system that learned to survive in a world that did not feel safe. The alarm system stayed on because it once had to. The problem is that it never got the message that the war ended. And when your body lives in constant alert, it becomes harder to regulate emotions. When the system is exhausted, small triggers feel huge. A minor criticism can feel like humiliation. A small disagreement can feel like abandonment. And suddenly you are not reacting, you are overflowing. That is where the next sign appears. When hypervigilance collapses, emotional dysregulation rises. When emotions take over, or you disappear. Have you ever felt like you were watching yourself from the outside? Like something inside you got hijacked, and suddenly you said things you didn't mean, did things you couldn't explain, and later you sat there thinking, why did I react like that? For some people, it looks like an explosion. Anger that goes from 0 to 100 in seconds. Crying that feels impossible to stop. A panic wave that hits without warning. For others, it looks like the opposite. You go numb. You shut down. You stop replying. You vanish emotionally, even if your body is still sitting in the room. You might lock yourself away, scroll for hours, sleep too much, or feel like you are floating, disconnected from everything. This is not you being crazy. This can be emotional dysregulation, one of the most common outcomes of unresolved childhood trauma. Here's the hard truth. Many people who grew up in chaotic or unsafe emotional environments never learned regulation. They learned survival. If you were raised around unpredictable anger, criticism, silent treatment, or emotional neglect, your nervous system had to adapt fast. A child doesn't have the tools to process intense emotions calmly. A child also can't escape easily, so the body learns shortcuts. It learns to fight, flee, freeze, or shut down. And those shortcuts become automatic patterns in adulthood. That's why it can feel like there is no space between trigger and reaction. A sideways glance can feel like rejection. A small criticism can feel like humiliation. A difficult conversation can feel like war. You may know logically that the moment is not life-threatening, but your body responds as if it is. And in that moment, logic doesn't lead. Survival does. Trauma research explains this in a simple way. Under threat, the brain shifts power, the survival system becomes dominant, and the parts responsible for calm reflection and reasoning become less active. So during an emotional storm, you might struggle to think clearly, explain yourself, or make balanced choices. It's not because you lack willpower, it's because your nervous system is acting from an old map. And if you grew up in a house where emotions were punished or mocked, your relationship with feelings may be confusing. Maybe crying was called weakness. Maybe anger created danger. Maybe vulnerability was used against you. So you learn one of three strategies. You suppress. You hold everything in until it leaks out as anxiety, tension, or sudden bursts. You explode. Emotions build up and then release in a way that scares even you. Or you disconnect. You numb out because feeling is too much. That disconnection has a name: dissociation. It is the mind's emergency exit. When pain becomes overwhelming, the brain creates distance from the body as a form of protection. In childhood, this can be life-saving. In adulthood, it can make you feel like you're not fully living. You lose the pain, but you also lose the good stuff. Joy feels far. Love feels unsafe. Presence feels hard to reach. Because the system is desperate for relief, many people develop coping habits that work short-term and harm long-term. Overworking so you don't feel, binge eating to numb, substance use to calm the body, compulsive scrolling to escape silence, sex without connection to feel something, anything, isolation to avoid being triggered. These aren't random, bad choices. They are often attempts to regulate a nervous system that never learned gentler ways. Then comes the aftershock. Guilt, shame, self-hate. You replay what happened and attack yourself. Why can't I control myself? Why am I like this? Why can't I be normal? But that question assumes you were taught normal regulation. Many traumatized children were not. They were taught survival reactions, and those reactions kept them safe back then. The problem is that the same reactions now damage relationships. They confuse partners and friends. They create cycles of conflict, apology, withdrawal, and loneliness. You start to fear intimacy, not because you don't want love, but because closeness triggers old danger signals. And that leads directly to the next sign. Because childhood trauma doesn't only disrupt your emotions, it rewires how you attach, trust, and connect with other people. Love feels good, then suddenly, it feels dangerous. You want connection. You want someone who chooses you, understands you, stays with you. You imagine a steady relationship where you can relax and be yourself. And yet, when something real starts to form, a strange fear rises. Closeness feels heavy. Distance feels painful. You crave intimacy, but the moment it arrives, your body tenses like it is walking into a trap. If that sounds familiar, it is easy to blame yourself. You might think you are too needy or too cold. You might think you attract the wrong people. You might even start believing you are not built for love. But very often, this is not a character flaw. This is attachment shaped by trauma. Attachment is not just an idea. It is the emotional programming your nervous system builds in early childhood. As a child, you learned what love means through your caregivers, not through their words, but through their patterns. Were they present when you were scared? Did they comfort you or dismiss you? Did your emotions make them supportive or angry or distant? Did you feel safe being yourself, or did you feel you had to perform to be accepted? Those experiences create an inner map, a silent belief system that says, this is what relationships are. This is what I can expect. This is what I must do to stay connected. If your early love came with unpredictability, criticism, emotional neglect, or rejection, your body likely learned one painful lesson. Love is not fully safe. So when love appears in adulthood, your nervous system reacts, even if your mind is excited. This is why relationships can feel confusing. You might truly like someone, but feel anxious for no clear reason. You might enjoy closeness, then suddenly feel suffocated. You might fear abandonment even when nothing is wrong. Or you might push people away the moment they get close. This usually shows up in a few common patterns. If you lean anxious, you may fear being left. You read between the lines of text. You interpret delays as rejection. You ask for reassurance, but the reassurance never fully settles because the fear is not logical. It lives deeper. It lives in the body. You might cling, chase, or overgive, not because you enjoy it, but because the nervous system is trying to secure connection before it disappears. If you lean avoidant, closeness can trigger discomfort. You may act independent, rational, and fine, but inside you feel exposed. When someone wants intimacy, your system signals danger. You minimize feelings. You create distance. You focus on flaws. You become busy. You shut down. Not because you don't care, but because vulnerability once came with pain, and your body remembers that. And some people live in the most chaotic version, disorganized attachment. It is a mix of wanting love and fearing it at the same time. You crave closeness, but when it happens, you freeze. Relationships become intense, confusing, and emotionally exhausting. You might swing between needing someone and mistrusting them, between pulling them in and pushing them away. And often, without realizing it, you end up with partners who repeat the pattern you grew up with. Emotionally unavailable, unstable, critical, distant, controlling, familiar pain, because familiar pain feels predictable. This is one of the harshest things trauma does. It writes a script. If you don't rewrite it consciously, you keep acting it out with different people. And then comes the cruel conclusion. You start to think the problem is you. You tell yourself you don't know how to love. You tell yourself you are too much. You tell yourself you are not meant to be loved. But what you are really experiencing is a nervous system trained to survive unsafe connection. And the damage doesn't stop at relationships. Over time, these patterns shape how you see yourself, how you speak to yourself when no one is listening. Every time closeness triggers fear, you may shame yourself for needing love. Every time you pull away, you may hate yourself for doing it again. This cycle quietly builds an inner world filled with self-attack. That is where the next sign grows. Because unresolved childhood trauma does not only distort love with others, it can turn love inward into something harsh, brutal self-criticism, toxic shame, the feeling that you are fundamentally not enough, the inner critic, the disconnected body, and the way back to yourself. At some point, unresolved childhood trauma stops feeling like something that happened to you. It starts feeling like who you are. You look in the mirror and you don't just see flaws. You see a problem. Even when you succeed, something inside refuses to let you feel it. You achieve, but the relief lasts 5 minutes. Then the voice returns. Not enough, not good enough, not safe enough, not worthy enough. This is not ordinary insecurity. This is toxic shame, and it often grows from childhood. Toxic shame is different from healthy guilt. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am wrong. It doesn't attack your actions. It attacks your identity. It makes you feel defective at the core, as if love must be earned, and if you stop performing, you will be rejected. That belief rarely appears out of nowhere. It is built. A child who grows up with constant criticism, emotional neglect, unpredictable affection, or pressure to be perfect, learns a devastating lesson. If I'm hurt, it's my fault. If I'm rejected, it's because I'm not good enough. If I'm unseen, I must become smaller. If I want love, I must earn it. Over time, that becomes an inner voice, the inner critic, and the critic does not speak gently. It repeats old messages in new situations. It sounds like a parent, a teacher, an older sibling, a harsh environment. It turns past judgment into present truth. You mess everything up. You're too sensitive. Don't get excited, it won't last. No one will stay when they see the real you. So you try to fix yourself. You push harder. You become productive. You become perfect. You become useful. You become the person who never needs anything. But the critic doesn't disappear because it was never logical. It's not just a thought. It's a survival strategy. It tries to keep you safe by keeping you small. And here's the painful twist. This shame can block love. When someone compliments you, you deflect. When someone cares, you get suspicious. When you succeed, you minimize it. Because accepting love requires believing you are worthy, and toxic shame makes worthiness feel impossible. That is why people sabotage good things. Not because they don't want them, but because good things trigger fear. If something is good, it can be taken away. If someone loves you, they can leave. If you relax, something bad will happen. So the nervous system hits the alarm and you retreat. You cancel plans, you procrastinate, you pick fights, you withdraw, you destroy what you wanted, then punish yourself for doing it. That cycle is brutal, and it often pushes people into a second survival response, living in the mind and abandoning the body. Many trauma survivors become experts at thinking. They analyze everything. They rehearse conversations. They predict outcomes. They live in what if. They stay busy, not because they are ambitious, but because silence feels unsafe. When someone asks, "How do you feel?" they answer with thoughts, not sensations. This is disconnection, dissociation, living from the neck up. But the body keeps speaking anyway. Tight chest, knotted stomach, migraines, fatigue, insomnia, digestive problems, chronic pain, a constant feeling of tension for no clear reason. Sometimes doctors can't find a direct cause because the body is expressing what the mind never had room to process. And here's the truth that matters most. Healing is not just understanding, it's reconnecting. Not forcing positivity, not pretending the past didn't matter, not bullying yourself into being normal. It starts with gently coming back to yourself in small, safe steps. You learn to notice your body without panic. You learn to breathe without rushing. You learn to name what you feel without judging it. You learn boundaries that protect you. You learn self-trust is a skill, not a talent. You stop asking, "What is wrong with me?" and start asking, "What happened to me and what did I learn to survive it?" Because you are not broken, you are adapted, and adaptations can change. If any part of this hit home, don't keep it locked inside. Comment what you recognized. Share what touched you, not for attention, but to break the silence. And if this feels heavy, consider getting support from a qualified therapist, especially someone trauma-informed. You don't have to heal perfectly, you just have to start coming back.